Evening, everybody. Welcome to our Facebook live chat with me, Kathy Webb, IBD nurse at Derriford, and
Shaz Chilcott, volunteer.
Lindsay, volunteer.
We've already had some questions emailed through, I think, but keep your questions coming.
Yes, please.
Should we ask anyone if they're receiving us? Are you receiving?
I expect.
Is there anyone out there?
Is there anyone?
Danny's popped up.
Ah.
So Danny's receiving, that's good. I guess while we're just waiting for the first question, we could just give a little plug for Walk It, which is on Saturday the 13th of July. So we'd love to see you for Walk It, please. And we also need volunteers. We want to get to 400 walkers, and we've got about 120, I think, at the moment. Something like that. We want to get to about 40 or 50 volunteers, and I think we've got about 15. So we could really do with lots more of both. And while we're on the subject of plugging things, I'm going to plug our ball as well.
Yeah, why not?
40th anniversary.
We're not plugging that.
40th anniversary ball is on Saturday the 12th of October at the Fan Plaza Hotel. So if you check our Facebook page, we'll be posting loads about it. But we are already selling tickets, so you want to get yours soon.
Shaz has already got a gown, haven't you?
No.
I think probably to mention with the ball as well, if you're planning on coming in a group, if you can get 10 of you, there's a discount if you can book before, was it the 1st of August we said?
Yeah, end of July, yeah.
So you can get them at it'd be £40 a ticket for a table of 10 as opposed to paying the 42. So book your table.
Yeah.
Book now.
Yeah.
Got a question coming through.
And I have a question here. I had 2 doses of, oh no, I don't know how to say that one, adalimumab left before transferring onto a biosimilar. Have any users reported any issues with transferring over, e.g. effectiveness of new medication or side effects?
Oh, hot topic. So adalimumab,
Thank
Oh.
you.
Like humira.
it is the same as humira,
Oh, right.
has recently switched to a biosimilar. So biosimilar just means that it's a new, it's a generic of the drug. So it's cheaper, saves the NHS a lot of money, and all of the studies that have been done have suggested that the drug is just as effective, all the biosimilars. So infliximab has gone over to biosimilars years ago. We've had no problems with that. And humira has recently gone over to Imraldi. We're using Imraldi at Derriford. Other centres will use different ones. I'm not sure where which centre that came from, if it was a local one or not, Plymouth or not.
I think it's local, yes.
Because you know what drug he's transferring over to now?
It's Exeter.
Oh, it's Exeter.
But the bottom line is,
But we've had no
problems.
problems. No, I mean the commonest problem that a few people have had is the new injections, the Imraldi. In a few people, they've been more stingy. So they have said that the injections sting more than humira. That's quite a transient, short-lived thing. It doesn't affect the efficacy of the drug. So it won't make any difference to how effective the drug is for you. But some people have said that there's that slight stinging. But other than that, we've had no problems with people switching over, apart from the logistics of sometimes these things like people have run out and they haven't had the new drug sent. That can happen quite a lot to begin with, but not from a point of view of the effectiveness now. Shouldn't be any different.
So was he swapping from humira onto something else completely, or is it just a different brand?
I think
He
it's
did a
biosimilar.
biosimilar, yeah, so it will be either Imraldi or I think the other one's called Amgevita.
Right.
I
didn't know if he was
How
going
do you
sort of.
remember them?
I didn't know if he was leaving those completely and going to sort of infliximab or something like that.
Oh,
If
yeah,
it was a
yeah.
complete change of drug.
Yeah.
That was all.
I think it's
I've got the
linked to
impression,
biosimilar,
yeah.
yeah,
Right,
for,
okay.
for humira.
Thank you. Okay, another question, and keep them coming in. Type any questions that you want to while we're all talking. A loved one has recently been diagnosed with Crohn's.
Abby said hello.
Yes, Abby's.
Oh,
Hi,
Hi, Abby.
Emma Jane says hi. Hi,
Oh,
Emma
hi, Emma
Jane.
Jane.
Hi, Jane.
I can see they are struggling with the diagnosis, and I don't know how to support them. Can you help?
Over to you two, I'd say.
It's difficult, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah, we've had actually a few messages on this on this line already in the past, in the past year actually, from people sort of fairly young, but their girlfriend or boyfriend just kind of said, you know, can we do anything? But I know at least one of them, I'd gone back and said, well, you can get emotional support from Crohn's and Colitis UK, so you can go onto the website for Crohn's and Colitis UK, and there's a helpline you can phone and you can chat to someone. I think you make an appointment and they phone you back, and these are like properly trained people that are very helpful. They've also got loads of guides. They've got guides on how to support someone that you love, you know, someone you're living with or someone you're caring for or whatever. They've got stuff about what is Crohn's, what is colitis, all those kind of things. So there's lots of good, useful advice up there.
Yeah, I think
well.
it's not so much, we can't really advise on because everybody's individual. So what our week's class of support might be different to them. Just all I'd say is do your research so you know a bit about the disease first, and try to stay away from, are you feeling better today? And, you know, if you eat something different, will it help? Things like that, because everybody is different with the disease. So there's nothing in particular per person that can say, oh, that works not for everybody. So it just be emotional support is basically all you can do to help.
There was also something that I found called Plymouth Options.
Oh yes.
So you look
them.
right, yeah, Plymouth Options. I mean, it talks about people with anxiety and depression, and you know that might be more strong than you're thinking, but you know, if you start going down that road, maybe it's a good thing to stop early. But Plymouth Options is a place you can go and get help,
we do
support,
refer,
counselling.
We refer quite a few patients to Plymouth Options if they're struggling with anxiety and depression around their disease. But like you said, Lindsay, everyone's so individual. Some people don't want that, and other people just want. Some people just want to ignore it, don't they? And I think, like you said, being well versed in it really helps. Understanding it. It's amazing how many people you meet where their relatives, their husbands, partners, whoever, have got no idea about the illness at all. They've never read anything. They don't come to appointments, and it's really
it's not just the disease itself, is it? They don't understand the struggles that go, the daily struggles that go with having a chronic illness, whether it be Crohn's, colitis, lupus, anything. It's draining. There's other conditions that come along with it.
It's very invisible, isn't it? If you're if you've got, you know, a physical obvious disability, like you lost a leg or something, then people will know.
Of course, Charles is probably the same as well. When anyone says, no matter how you're feeling, you look really well. Well, how are you? Fine. I'm fine. It's just easier. It's fine.
It is.
So just do some research on it, so you've kind of got a basic knowledge, and try and support them is all I can say. Depression and anxiety are a big thing that come with it, because there's a realization that it's never going away. I think is the big thing. It's not something that can be cured, and
especially when people are young, and it's like more common ages. Is it 15 to 30 or 16 to 30? I think that's the most common age that you get it. So these are young people who are getting it, and that's going to strike them. Like, I've got this. I'm 16 years old. I've been diagnosed with this. I've got it for the rest of my life because we haven't got a cure yet. It's kind of really, you go through a lot of stuff already when you're a teenager. You don't need a chronic illness as well.
And so I think the older ones that get diagnosed, and it's almost like they call it like grieving, don't they? That they can't have the life they've always had. It's gone. Constant. I know I certainly was like that for a long time. Wanted to be who I was before. My body stopped me, sort of thing, and it took me a long time to get past that. So it is just be there. If they want to talk about it, just be an ear, and if they don't,
I think it's good to talk about it if you can.
Encourage
them to talk about it. I think that would be really good.
Not a question. Not a question, but something I found that's really helps with bloated is peppermint tablets after meals. And Emma's asking Abby about that as well. And Stephen says, I always say to fellow sufferers, appreciate what you can do and don't worry about what you can't.
Oh, good philosophy.
Whatever restrictions or difficulties you have with your condition, there is always something that you can do to make you feel more positive.
Absolutely, That's actually a bit of a theme from Crohn's and Colitis UK at the moment. The theme is it takes guts, so you can still do stuff, and they've been promoting a lot of stuff where people, ordinary people, have been doing
extraordinary
things.
things.
Yeah, extraordinary things.
Yeah.
And not everyone has to do an extraordinary thing. Just going to work might be an extraordinary thing for a lot of
It can be
people.
very draining.
Exactly.
So yeah.
But yeah, I think Steve was absolutely right. Make the most of what you can do. That's
And if
really
you're having
good.
a bad day, don't punish yourself. Have the bad day. Tomorrow's another day.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But peppermint after a meal.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do a drink version of it as well.
Peppermint tea.
It's not nice. Well,
I love
some people
peppermint
might
tea.
like it. My sister-in-law likes
I
peppermint,
love
so
peppermint tea.
but I used to have that. If you remember the first stricture, I had terrible bloating and pain from wind basically. So it did help move it.
Oh, actually, we've got a question.
I was just about to say that moves on to that question.
We have a question
I
on
don't know
that.
whether to cover that question or first.
Like to
or-
smooth
Oh,
things out.
you got something else?
Yeah, Abby's just said, since starting my PIP claim, my joints seem to have got worse and I'm finding it a little more difficult to walk as far as I used to. Is it worth updating my PIP claim to tell them about this? I don't know if it would make a difference or not worth hassling them with it.
Definitely.
Sounds
Yeah.
worth
I
it to
would,
me.
yeah, I would.
Anything that you can get in to tell them, it works in your favour.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, do it, Abby.
Yeah.
Go for
And
it.
good
Go
luck.
for it.
Right.
So back to wind.
Sorry. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
I had a why did I get these long?
Junostomy.
Gynostomy. And
Junostomy.
Gastrojejunostomy.
That's the one.
That's a new one on me.
and ileal resection.
Ileal resection. Yeah.
How am I getting all the big words today?
We just like to give you a challenge.
In August 2017, following diagnosis in March 2017. I'm keeping a log of bowel movements and diet, though can't work out any link between food intake and either the degree of belching that occurs, which can be regular through the day, or flatulence, which I seem to not be troubled with for a while and then returns for a few days at a time. Is there anything that I could be doing to minimise the flatulence and belching? I do not drink fizzy drinks or alcohol. I access the gym 4 sessions per week. I feel fairly fit as a rule, slightly overweight, but not massively. I take humira twice weekly, azathioprine, omeprazole, and iron daily.
Steve. Good.
Oh,
well
done,
done.
Mm.
So it's
I
got a
mean,
lot of wind.
yeah.
Both ends by
Wind.
Saturday.
I mean, she's obviously had a
He.
quite extensive surgery in 2017. Obviously, without knowing the details of that, it's difficult to advise too much. I'm not sure if you've been reassessed since 2017. We tend to do blood tests and stool samples for inflammation, called a calprotectin test, after surgery every sort of 6 months to give us an idea of whether people are in remission. So I'd say that's the first thing. Are you definitely in remission? Is there any signs of active disease? Because that won't help those symptoms. So discuss that with your team. Is it local? Is it Derriford person?
No, I don't think he is. No.
Okay. Regarding the flatulence, I mean, we were just talking about this, the biggest link is fibre and wind, fibre and flatulence, fibre and bowel motion. So if you're somebody that's going to the toilet quite a lot, which people often are after a resection, then reducing fibres can really help, as can things like Imodium, that can help too.
Because he says he has a good diet, but
It might just be very healthy.
Good diet
Yeah,
can make
a good
you
healthy
windier.
diet can make you
Yeah,
worse,
exactly.
can't it, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, if you are having brown breads, if you are having seeds, or you're having nuts, or you're having lots of fibre,
Lots
that
of
will
veg,
add
yeah.
tremendously to those symptoms. So if you stop all that or reduce it by 70%, then that should all improve. But I would say that you need to be checked out that you haven't got any active Crohn's going on, and that you're having regular bloods and regular calprotectin tests, because those do make a big difference. But certainly the biggest link tends to be fibre
Yeah.
with all these symptoms.
Well, that's the first thing they tell you to stop when you have a colonoscopy, isn't
I was
it?
going to
The
say,
first thing you do is cut the fibre.
I think I've been on the low residue diet for
Yeah,
about 7 years.
And it is very boring, so people don't want to be on
It
it
is,
forever.
but
But it's worth
it
an
does work.
experiment. If
Yes,
it bothers you
yeah.
and you're going to the
Yeah.
loo a lot and you're having a lot of wind, if you cut out all fruit and veg, even if you do it for a week, and it's tremendously improved, then you've kind of got your answer. And then maybe also taking a multivitamin for people that aren't managing to have their fruit and veg.
Yeah.
We'll just go with the wind. I mean, you know.
It depends how much it's bothering you, doesn't it?
Or your workmates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My family is used to me now.
I mean, I also found it might be worth him looking at the type of iron he's taking. If it's tablets, I have no
That's
Oh,
eye.
yes,
That can
iron,
add to
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Kathy very kindly swapped me to liquid iron, and I've had no problem since, touch wood. But the tablets were crippling me.
Oh,
with
right.
wind, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, how long have you been on iron? Have you had blood tests to check that your iron's now okay? If you've been on it for 2 or 3 months, then it's no point taking it anymore. If you're still iron deficient, need an infusion. So all of those things I wouldn't know without.
Oh, right. So you're not actually supposed to take iron for more than 2 or 3 months.
If it's not improving your bloods,
Yeah.
there's no point taking it because you're not absorbing it. And someone
Right.
like that, who's had a lot of extensive
Yeah.
small bowel surgery, may not absorb iron at all. So they just need an iron
right.
infusion.
So you might be taking iron for nothing, and it's making it worse.
Yeah, exactly. So that could be the
Yeah.
case, yeah. And like Abby says, peppermint tea,
Yeah.
peppermint capsules help
Mm.
tremendously for a lot
I
of
mean, I
people.
found the
with that
buscar has
problem.
helped a massive
Yeah.
deal as well, yeah.
Eh?
Yeah, I know.
What's buscar?
It's like a little tablet, but basically a few years ago, I was tried obviously at the start to take Imodium, loperamide, you know, and it would cause real severe abdominal pain,
Oh.
crippling, and so I just couldn't take it. So since having the ileostomy, I've had to try and slow the output. So the only thing I could do to get sort of 2 to 3 hours sleep at a time was to take codeine because I couldn't take the Imodium.
Oh, God.
And it wasn't until I was in town shopping the one Christmas, and I thought, I've got to slow this down. I can't, you know, I wasn't getting to a shop before having to go again. So I went into Boots and thought, I'm going to have to take some Imodium and just deal with it. But they did one with buscopan to reduce cramps.
Oh,
So I
right.
thought, oh, it's worth the try.
Yeah.
And it worked. So
Oh,
Kathy
right.
very kindly gave me a prescription for both together to try and see if it worked, and that I could take. And it's
Only
like,
took
well,
us 6
working.
years.
Only And had I have not just gone into Boots that day and gone, you know, I'll try that.
There we go.
So there we go.
Yeah,
So,
lots of help out there for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Mm.
I have a question. Do you think probiotics help IBD sufferers?
Oh, have you ever had probiotics?
No, I've
You
always
have,
steered
haven't
clear of them. I thought they were actually more trouble than they're worth.
but the problem is, it's how they take it, isn't it?
You said one time that
Oh
it
God, I
wasn't.
hate this when this happens on live.
That's a good thing. You said it's all right if you've got the proper things, but don't get the
That's
little ones
right,
that you
yeah,
buy in
That's right.
the
Don't think
supermarket.
things
That's
like
what I remember
Actonol
you
and
said.
Yakult, the
Yeah.
amount
Rubbish.
in them
Yeah.
isn't
Yeah.
enough.
It's
Well, that
just-
was my friend who worked at the lab told me that. She said, that's not, if you're going to do it, go and get the proper capsules with the high dosage of them. It's no good,
Yeah.
those drinks and that, they just...
No, totally
Yeah.
agree. There is quite a lot of evidence, quite a lot of growing research for probiotics and prebiotics in people with IBD, only because it helps gut flora. So no one's saying it's the panacea of all ills. It's not going to like cure your Crohn's or colitis. But from a symptom point of view, if you're someone that goes to the toilet a lot and has your bowels open a lot, and you have a lot of diarrhea, they can be really helpful. But Lindsay's right. Go to Holland & Barrett or a health food shop and get a probiotic capsule or liquid. They're not cheap.
No, they're not.
But there's very good evidence, and for IBS as well, that they're really good for gut health, general gut health.
Oh, right. Which is actually what
Mm.
those named brands that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, they're really
they
helpful.
say that
Yeah.
they're really helpful, but actually they're not so helpful.
Well, it's just,
Oh,
there's
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 not
another.
enough in them.
I just
Not
made
enough
a bit.
in
It was a
them.
bit of a mistake.
No, but I think what you're
Yeah.
saying is there's not enough in them to
Not
actually
enough.
make
And they
anything
have got a
great.
lot of other things in them to make them tasty. So they're like
Yeah.
Yeah.
yogurts, aren't they?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's better to.
Got a message from Sharon. Hi, Sharon.
Hi Sharon from
Hi, Sharon.
Hi, Sharon.
Hi, ladies. Just wondering if you get withdrawal symptoms coming off azathioprine.
Oh, shouldn't do. No, shouldn't do it.
I
It's
didn't
not a
because I was
steroid
allergic
or
to it,
anything
but,
like
you
that. No,
But you probably went on
no.
something else, didn't you? I mean, I went on
Once
when I
I
was on
finished having my
azathioprine.
reaction.
Oh right, yeah. Well, I did. I took azathioprine for 2 weeks and got sinusitis and all sorts of horrible things. So stopped taking that and got macaptopurine instead.
But
I
that's
wasn't
probably,
thinking
she's probably
withdrawals.
talking about long term.
Talking
about properly coming off.
Yeah. Yeah, you shouldn't have any withdrawal. You can just stop it straight. But some people, because they're concerned, like a bit of a safety blanket, they just want to reduce it
Yeah.
slowly. So that's fine as well.
Go down
But you
to every
shouldn't
other
get
and then
any.
every
Yeah.
third, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I stopped it when I got that horrible rash. Remember I got that horrible rash a few years ago? Remember that horrible? I was red all over.
Oh, yes.
I stopped taking, because you said to me you better stop taking that, and I stopped taking that for several months. I think.
I was going to say it's the same
up again afterwards.
with all of them, isn't it? If you get a bad cough or anything,
Yeah.
or an infection, you need to stop them until that's gone.
yeah.
So that's just the same.
Yeah.
And it's never affected me
No.
like that. I mean, I was too worried about the rash, really.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Better safe than sorry.
Yeah.
Hello all, this is from Rhiannon. Sadly, I've now developed antibodies to humira. I've read on the Crohn's and Colitis website about a new drug called tofacitinib. Is that, yeah?
Oh.
Is this something that will be widely available for colitis?
Yes. So I can't actually remember the name off the top of my head. It is brand new. We're not using it yet at Derriford, but she's right in that it is licensed. It's a tablet, anti-TNF, so similar group of drugs to humira, infliximab, adalimumab, all of those. And we are currently not using it at Derriford, but it is licensed. So that means that at some point in the very near future, we do hope to be able to use it. Having said that, there still are other things that we could use for Rhiannon, in all likelihood, because she's developed the humira antibodies. So there are still other medications we could use that are in our pot
Maybe
before we go to this one. Ustekinumab is one of them.
Jane, who asked you about the probiotics, says thank you very much for answering her question, and hi Lindsay and Kathy. Jane
Carden. Hi Jane.
Hi Jane. Hi Jane.
So
we must have like coffee soon.
Okay, another question that's come in. I'm trying to give up smoking and my GP has suggested I take a prescription drug to help, but I'm worried that it might trigger a flare of my colitis. Any advice? Rhiannon says thank you as well for answering her question.
There are prescription. I was reading about this.
Yeah.
I think there are a couple I saw, but that was
it's a common one, isn't it?
I
mean, we've had not very many, a few problems with people on Champix. They haven't developed any problems with their colitis. I've had a couple of patients that did think their colitis was flaring, but it's really difficult to know whether it's that or not.
Champix itself makes you feel sick.
Yeah,
that's the whole point of the tablet.
Does it?
Yeah, my brother was on it, and after so many weeks, it makes you feel sick because then you don't want a cigarette. Basically.
And it can give you some other GI upset.
And it can give you sort of hallucinations as well at night times.
Girlfriend.
Yeah,
women.
Doctor, I like the idea of that.
I mean, it worked for him, but
a lot of patients have said they've had no problems on it. Have they tried other things first?
I was going to say, when I did it, I went down the route of vaping instead, and just lowered the nicotine in that until there was down to 0, and then
presumably
it was a lot easier.
They probably have tried other things first, because they normally do that as a third line, don't they? If you've not tried, so I guess
if the doctor's talking about prescribing it, then it must be someone who's gone to the doctor and said, like, I've tried these things, nothing seems to work. I've got the patches, nothing seems to work.
I think all you have to do is just try it. I mean, if you start it and you really have problems with your bowels, then
you can stop it. There's no problem stopping it. So
it's probably worth telling your IBD nurse that you're doing it, I suppose, is it? So you know something about it in case she comes in and says, or he, I can't remember if it's you or he.
Drop us an email or number. We haven't got a number.
No, that used to be when we had it the fancy way with all the fancy gear. We've got the fancy gear now.
Really no mates now.
I'll have to get a piece of paper and just hold it up.
We've got a question here from Jane. If someone has pouchitis, what length of antibiotic course is generally?
10 days to 2 weeks. It's quite long for
Can you tell us what
pouchitis.
pouchitis is?
So if you've got an ileoanal pouch, so you've had ulcerative colitis,
Isn't it they call it as well?
that's right. So you have the colon removed, and then you have a pouch made, an ileoanal pouch. And occasionally people can get bouts of pouchitis, which is just inflammation within the pouch.
Oh, right.
And it's normally treated very well with antibiotics. So we normally say 10 to 14 days. But often people do get shorter courses from their GP. So give us a ring or contact us if you're concerned about that. We can always advise, but it tends to be 10 days to 2 weeks.
That was a fairly straightforward question,
That was,
wasn't it?
wasn't it?
Thank you, whoever put in that very straightforward question, Jane.
Thanks, Jane.
Okay, we've got 6 minutes left. And where is the research in terms? Oh, sorry, no, I'm going to go back because Jane's just come back. I'm on my second bout of pouchitis. I was recently given a 5-day course of antibiotics. I was really well on them, and then finished the course, and the pouchitis came
I
back.
wasn't long enough.
I thought I had read it is generally a 10-day course.
Yeah.
Is this right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you-
But yeah, 10 days to 2 weeks. I mean, give us a call, Jane, if you're having a problem. You know, I can have a chat with you.
Ring Kathy.
I'll try.
She's back now.
I've only had 3 days off.
Seems like longer.
3 days too much.
Yeah, you don't have any more annual leave.
Okay, so with 5 minutes. Where is the research in terms of new medication and finding a cure for Crohn's?
Yeah, that would be. Wouldn't that be lovely?
Wouldn't it just?
I think the research is all the time for Crohn's anyway is moving towards what consideration for stem cell transplant. There's now a couple of centres in the UK that are taking patients on for that. We've sent 2 people there with very, very, very severe Crohn's for that consideration.
That would effectively be a cure then.
It would be, because your whole stem cells are being rewired. A bit like if you have other cancers and leukemias, you can have that.
They're quite a bit further down the line with that research in America.
They are.
About 5 years down the line now.
Yeah.
So far, it's been successful.
They're a long way ahead of us.
Yeah.
And I would still say that it was quite a drastic move with a lot of significant,
it can be quite dangerous.
concerns. Absolutely. It's not a nice thing. To have your whole immune system kind of wiped out effectively, and then you have to have your stem cells implanted and stuff. So it's it's major stuff. But I think that's the way that we are moving, and I think the genetics as well of Crohn's. I think that's also lots of research being done into genetic responses to certain drugs. So I think that will really help when we can tailor make drugs to people's genes.
You'll
know exactly which people
Yeah.
will have. They're doing some research in Exeter at the moment about mercaptopurine, and which people will have reactions to azathioprine and mercaptopurine. That's really interesting. So I think when we can kind of have a perfect genetic fit, then that will be ideal. And then obviously from a drug point of view, we have got newer MABs. Everything's going to be MABs. Anything with a MAB on the end is going to be, the other way that they'll develop for Crohn's disease. Ulcerative is a bit different because it's still considered a cure to have pouch. So they don't do quite so much research into that, because most people do very well on the whole with the pouch.
Abby says she is one of the ones going up to about.
She is one of the ones.
She says that she's pretty nervous to hear about it.
Oh, yeah, it's major stuff. It is major stuff, but it's not. You get a lot of support from up there, and you don't have to sort of go ahead with anything. Really, the reason to send people there is for people to be aware of what it entails. It's not a commitment. It's just good to get information.
She could be a pioneer.
She could.
She'd be absolutely all happy.
Could.
Pioneer.
She might decide that she.
Yeah, we want to know what happens now. You have to start writing a blog that we can follow or something.
And it's very rigid as well. I mean, they don't accept everyone.
Oh, right.
Yeah. You have to have this. You have to tick lots of boxes.
And actually, with research, there's loads of research going on with Crohn's and Colitis UK. So, I mean, if you just go on the website again, you go on Crohn's and Colitis.
And there's a lot on stem cell transplants. I mean, it's a really good thing to look up, because it is fascinating. I mean, they're doing them in all areas now, aren't they? Very successfully in a lot of diseases. So. Big stuff.
Yeah.
Jane says she'll be in contact with you guys tomorrow.
Get the antibiotics ready.
Yeah, that's right. I'll get the prescription organised.
One minute. Sorry, Abby. What happens if it's something I'm not keen on doing? I've heard there is a possibility it can make you infertile. That scares me. If it is something I'm going to do, then I'd be happy to blog or record the progress. Oh, that would be lovely, Abby.
That'd be fantastic.
And no one's going to push anyone into
just
No,
going
no.
to talk to
Just
them
have a
and
conversation.
Yeah.
It's a conversation, but
Yeah.
there are options with that anyway,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
speak to them about it.
Don't worry.
No, they're
yourself.
not.
No.
And I mean,
You're not going to
No.
get up there and they're just going to throw you into it.
Yeah.
You'll have a chance to ask the questions.
yeah, and I can give you, if you've got any worries, give me a ring and I'll have a chat with you the next few days. But it is just like Lindsay says, it is just a conversation at this stage, really, for a lot of people. Yeah.
But yeah, if you keep a blog, that'd be great. We'd love to read it and put it on our
Yeah, we
Facebook.
would.
Yeah. And we have, there's about 4 or 5 people that have gone up there just for a conversation, so it's
Yeah.
worthwhile having.
Yeah.
There's
And you
maybe-
can do some shopping in London.
Yeah, just think of it as a nice.
Yeah, go to Harrods.
There's a lady I follow on Twitter, Abby. If you message us, I'll put you in contact with her. She's from the Exeter team. I think she's been up, or she's on her way up to Exeter as well, and she's on the Exeter networking team. So Abby, get in contact and I'll check, and I might be able to pass on.
And there's another patient, I won't say the name on here, but there's
No.
another patient that has been up, has had a conversation and is having thoughts about that. So I can put you in touch with him, you know, and maybe you two could chat that way. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
So it's 8 o'clock. Do you want to
Yeah.
round things up?
I don't think, we've got any more
Walk it.
questions. That was really, that seemed to go really, really
Yeah.
quickly.
It did,
Yeah.
Yeah, so another
Great
plug for Walk
evening.
It, Saturday the 13th of July,
Best date of the year.
Which is also,
which is also
can we
Danny's
say?
Yes.
40th birthday. We'll drink to that.
Cheers, Danny. We'll be there.
Cheers,
We'll be
Danny.
there for you.
So we'll probably have a couple of bottles up there as well. If you're
Sure,
volunteering,
Shaz will have had a couple before she
before I go.
Yeah.
So will she. So yeah, if you're volunteering, we'll probably have a couple of bottles afterwards. So you know, it's worth volunteering just for that. Saturday 13th of July. Sign up now. You go on the Crohn's and Colitis UK website, and there's a big thing that says Walk It, and then go to Plymouth and sign up, either to walk or to volunteer.
Don't forget,
And
the
the
kids
ball.
can get their t-shirts
Yeah.
and the dogs can get their
Bandanas.
bandanas.
Yeah.
Bandana from last year.
Yeah,
my
Dizzy
God.
has as well.
Yeah. And the
But you get new T-shirts this year.
Oh, do you?
Yes,
Yeah.
they're actually giving the T-shirts this year will be different from the ones last year. So I think they're going to say Walk It on the front like this or something like this, and on the back they're going to say It Takes Guts this year. So they're going to be
See, now I was going to volunteer. Now I want to change my mind.
No.
And helpline number 01752 439 224.
Brilliant.
None of us are going to say the email address because
No, it's too
we
Too
can't.
long-winded.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Look on our
It's all on the
website. It's
website.
there.
It's all on our Facebook page. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.